controversial here for Super Rejects. Who do you guys think is going to win this series? You can vote on Twitch using the hashtag SF for Super Frogs or hashtag SR for the Super Rejects.
I think this is going to be a real test for Colo. He's stepping off the grounds that he's known for as a healer and now into the realm of damage per second. Outlaw Rogue going to be the specialization of choice for him. Let's see how he decides to start this fight out. Immediately opening on Chun-Li to peel him away, allowing Smexen to have free reign to get flame shocks onto 3 targets. Chun-Li and Channel and Cubsy do not look afraid though. All 3 members charging across the map looking for crowd control early on and pressure towards Smexen. He's going to trade out his Trinket Astral Shift to survive the initial assault, but those are 2 very strong defensive cooldowns out of the way, allowing Super Frogs an opportunity moving forward.
Yeah, this is a big question mark for me. Super Rejects, Envious, have never really seen him on the Resto Druid. Stun now over onto Chun-Li, into the Cyclone. Nice control coming in from Super Rejects. But Super Frog still has most of the pressure and momentum their way. Smexen, no Astral Shift. If they can get some more crowd control on Envious, both Colo and Smexen could be in a little bit of trouble. There's the full fear. Colo trying desperately to peel with the gouge onto Chun-Li as Smexen gets lower and lower.
All right, Smexen on the run, Chun-Li in hot pursuit. Cubsy playing very aggressive as well, just staying midfield with his team. A blind attempt here from Colo. Chanimal gating before Colo was able to reconnect. Colo trying to grappling hook back. Chanimal line of sighting, relaying the portal on the opposite side. No sap, obviously, due to positioning there. It was an excellent gateway from Chanimal. His damage is really starting to show now with both Colo and Smexen at about 50% HP. Super Frogs are focusing on a crowd control to healer and then rot down the 2 DPS strategy throughout this match. Now with no Astral Shift and no Iron Bark, Smexen is vulnerable, and Incapacitate has been used onto Envious. This is good crowd control so far. Cap Totem followed up by Cubsy. Smexen could be in trouble, but Chun-Li not doing really enough damage here. He's desperately trying to kill Smexen with that 15-second window that he still got. Earthshock on Chun-Li to reverse it. Now he is low, gouged up. Cubsy getting interrupted by Colo. Chun-Li still caught into a stun. Colo just taking control of the whole team, but he's quite overextended.
Yeah, getting lower and lower. Gonna be careful. Oh, he has to Trinket out. Cloak of Shadow is gonna be committed as well. Chun-Li really punishing that, which is a little Fist of Fury. Colo has to use his Trinket and the Cloak of Shadows. Chun-Li now reconnecting over onto Smexen. Envious in a good position to get out heals into the Incapacitate. So Smexen might rot down a little bit here, but most of the damage going over onto Chanimal since he's caught in between the eye stun. You can see Cubsy in a good position, just able to spam up the heals quite easily. Colo really not able to get that crowd control on him.
Even though it's quite easily, he's already expended 50% of his mana. I can imagine Cubsy is also purging, as that's the only real way to beat a Restoration Druid is getting the purges on his heal over time effects. I think later into Dampening, though, they're going to have to go for the purges, try and save their mana for that point. Cubsy looking for a drink. Colo in line of sight, though, to deny at least most of its return. Chanimal getting interrupted on those unstable afflictions as Colo is looking to just shut down Chanimal as much as possible. Envious trying to stay ahead of the dots by dispelling them as well. Smexen ducking behind the pillar. It's basically Smexen versus Chun-Li, Colo versus Chanimal, the way that these teams are playing it out.
Yeah, and you have Smexen as well as Envious with D-Curse, so it's going to be super effective against that Affliction Warlock, getting off that Curse of Agony, which is most of the damage that they deal. So Smexen, as long as he can run away, he can D-Curse himself. He's not going to be taking too much pressure. It's really going to be up to Super Frogs to make sure they can get those crowd control chains on Envious if they want to close out this game. Both Colo and Smexen rotting down. A sap now onto Chun-Li. Nicely done by Colo there. Cheap shot over onto Cubsy, but a pre-Earthen Shield Totem will deny any of the incoming damage.
Yeah, good defensive management so far from the Super Frogs, but they really don't have an opening for quite some time. Both Envious and Smexen have defensive cooldowns to deflect any sort of attack, which means that the Super Rejects should consider getting aggressive in this position. Colo leading the charge still, just locking in Channel. Now swapping back to Chun-Li with that grappling hook, landing a stun. Chun-Li preemptively activating his shield wall before the stun. That was a nice read by Chun-Li. That's going to allow him to be incredibly tanky throughout this assault. Envious camping that bear farm. Maybe he's a bit afraid of getting paralysis into a swap. Smexen just kiting away. Cubsy looking for a drink. He gets denied by the Ursul's Vortex. He may decide to gate and then go for a drink again. It's going to be important for Cubsy to get mana moving into the late game.
Yeah, very important. Already down to around 30%. There's a stun onto Chun-Li. A little bit of, actually no damage going to be committed. Colo really just playing more of a control role. He does have the Plunder armor available once again, but really no opening. Everyone has Trinket. Not able to force too much. Really what Super Rejects has going for them, like you said, Sid, is that mana lead. But now Cubsy sitting down for a drink, able to get a few ticks. Got back to 50% mana. That's going to be good for the Super Frogs.
Yeah, but he needs way more than that. I almost think he needs a complete reset on mana if he ultimately wants to take this. I could see maybe around 20 to 30% dampening with Cubsy spamming out purges, and they could find a kill onto Smexen, and that's likely their win condition in this matchup. Colo getting feared away by Chanimal. Chanimal still looking to try and rot up the DPS. Potential fear out of this Incapacitate or a Cap Totem. Cap Totem landed by Cubsy. Chun-Li in a bit of trouble still, though, at the same time, trying to just Flying Serpent kick. A Fear now out of the Cap Totem. Good crowd control on Envious. Smexen is in trouble. He trinkets, he Astral Shifts to reduce the incoming damage. Chun-Li does not care. He refuses to acknowledge the defensive cooldown, just Touch of Deathing into it to try and out-pressure it. I don't think it's going to be enough. Maybe it will be. Double Infernal. Chun-Li actually gets blinded. He trinkets aggressively. Potential punish here from Colo on the swap. They stun him on the trinket. He pre-walled, though, before the stun. He knew that aggressively trinketing the blind would leave him as an opening target, so he used his wall preemptively before that stun lock. That could have been a Spirit Link Totem or even his death if he didn't read that play. Yeah, that was a really sick play by Chun-Li. Colo still getting a little bit low, rotting down now. Envious still doing really well on mana. Smexen doing a good job just running, just line of sight. Super Rejects is not afraid to stall out a game until at a point in the game where they do feel like they're advantageous. So if they can just stall it out, Elemental Shaman damage is eventually going to be super significant as we move later on in this game. Cubsy, I believe, actually got another drink there, so he's actually he's doing pretty well. Envious still almost 100% mana. Cubsy down to around 60%. Double leg sweep now coming in from Chun-Li. A little pressure once again onto Colo and Smexen as they both kind of get rotted down by Chanimals in center field. Yeah, it was a bit of a misplay from the team of Super Rejects stacking up like that, and now Envious is trying to recover from that mistake with both members dangerously low. We see a swap onto Cubsy currently by Colo, but not really capitalizing on any cooldowns as a result. Chun-Li now rolling aggressively towards Envious by getting hexed. Envious putting his portal on the same pillar as Envious. Unfortunately now getting bashed, potential Cyclone as well. Envious doesn't want to risk it. Fell Hunter's chasing him down. It could spell lock him. Curious to see if Chun-Li does go for the safe strategy of going after the Elemental and Dampening, or if he's going to make healer swaps. Colo getting Paralysis. Chanimal trying to get aggressive. They're going to use the Cap Totem on Colo with a Fist of Fury stun on Envious. This is really good crowd control from the Super Frogs. Let's see if they have enough damage to do Envious in. He's on 10%. Frenzy Regeneration. Potential Purges. Drops the Vortex. He displaces away. Envious will survive, but a swap like that in maybe another minute, Envious doesn't make it alive. Portal positioning from Chun-Li was great. He expected Envious to displace across the map. Chun-Li immediately portals back on top of him, keeping out the pressure. Envious now, unfortunately, though, for Chun-Li, has recovered. Wild Growth is a very effective heal against damage over time effects, and it should allow him to recover here shortly. Yeah, Chun-Li once again using the Fortifying Elixir on that pre-swap. Now Colo into the full stun. He actually trinketed out of that cap stun a little bit earlier on, so not going to have that available for quite some time. Maybe that's something that the Super Frogs can punish. Envious still struggling to get that Vim back on himself, spamming out the regrowth, wants to get his HP back up. But if Chun-Li can keep him below 80%, Chanimals can rot everyone down. Envious is going to start falling behind very, very quickly. This is really good crowd control on Colo by both Chanimal and Chun-Li. They deny the sap and they get defensive cooldowns from Colo at the same time. That was a good punish by Chanimal and Chun-Li. Now Envious caught into a fear. Super Frogs really in just a dominating position. There's been almost absolutely no openings for Super Rejects to find a kill, and I think even though Cubsy is technically at a mana disadvantage against the Druid, he's been using the Gateway effectively to get long distances and drink, and every time he does it, I think he's going to take it with the Purges and Dampening. Super Frogs are just playing a phenomenal defense. Yeah, Cubsy now into the full stun. Cole just really struggling to find pressure in this matchup so far. No one is really scared. Chanimal's just able to easily kite around. Anytime Chun-Li gets stunned, he just pre-walls it. This situation, he has his trinket, he has his karma, he's going to be fine. He can use his defensives if he needs to. Big swap, though, coming in from Super Rejects. Chun-Li, though, not going to use anything, disrespecting that damage. Cubsy's in a good spot to just spam out the heals, and as a result, Chun-Li's going to be completely fine. Yeah, they need to focus on denying Cubsy's drinks. If he sneaks away for one, I guarantee that Super Rejects are going to be losing this. At this point, take out your friendly bets at what Dampening this is ultimately going to get up to. Chanimal, a nice Capacitator Totem from Cubsy, allowing Chanimal to free cast. He got a lot of unstable afflictions. Chun-Li disabling Smexen on his jump to get more uptime. He's desperately trying to force an Astral Shift. Colo sitting on Cubsy to deny the drink, and he seems like he will be able to, but now he's left Chanimal open, and Chanimal is not a Warlock that you want to leave open for too long. Yeah, Colo caught into the full fear. Chanimal's just throwing out the UAs over and over and over. I think he got 3 or 4 off there. Full bash on Chun-Li, kick on Cubsy. A little bit of pressure here for Super Rejects as we do move forward to 25% Dampening. Gouge now on Cubsy. He pops his Ascendants, trying to top off his entire team. Chun-Li deep in enemy territory right now, is going to be coming back, making a retreat, trying to get some damage over on a Colo. Manages to land the Fist of Fury. He's done Touch of Death as well. Can they take Colo down? Leg sweep. Do they have the CC on Envious?
No, actually, he managed to spell a UA into the full fear, but that was a nice swap coming in from Super.
So you can use that and distract the healer that's drinking around the pillar, and that will make him stand up and stop drinking. So that's something that Colo could have been doing a little bit more to prevent Cubsy from having this mana, because at this point in the game, I feel like Cubsy really shouldn't have that much mana to work with, and it comes down to the offense.
It's going to be up to Super Rejects to put on a show here.
I think if they could do it, it would be on this composition. It seems to be very specialized to just stay on a Warlock. This will probably be the most difficult game for Chanimals to kite away. Smexen, of course, is playing an alternate spec. He's known for his Warrior, his Enhancement Shaman at BlizzCon in previous years. So let's see how Smexen can perform here on the Windwalker Monk.
Yep, Thugonomics as well as Smexen going to be charging in. Chun-Li just going to be peeling up Thugonomics. It's an interesting matchup because Chun-Li and Thugonomics are like the two people that sort of invented this Demon Hunter Windwalker composition, and now they're sort of doing battle head-to-head. Chun-Li's going to be making a swap over onto Thugonomics very early on. Envious saves his life with that life grip. Just did not, or sort of avoid using any sort of defensives. All
right, Envious fake casting a spell lock there, so now he's going to be able to free cast. I'm curious to see if he's going to use Shining Force on the Earthen Shield Totem. That's going to be kind of the playmaker moment. They still haven't even really forced Chanimal to have to port. There's Earthen Shield Totem on the ground, but they're actually swapping to Cubsy, catching him in a paralysis with no Earth Shield, but now Thugonomics gets paralysis away. They are playing Chastise Stun, so there will be no knockback. I'm not really the biggest fan of that choice from Envious overall, and their damage on Chanimal is quite lackluster.
Yeah, not too much damage going on Chanimals just yet. Cubsy seems to be able to easily heal through that damage. A nice little swap on him, but Chun-Li was there with the paralysis, and that's what I'm talking about. When you have Chun-Li playing defense for you, it can be very difficult as these setup-based comps. Now Chun-Li getting aggressive on a Thugonomics once again. We're able to force out the blur. Envy is struggling to sort of heal through this damage, and they really are focusing on that singles target strategy we talked about.
Yeah, and Chanimal even playing Curse of Fragility, so opting for an extra % health reduction that's next to his Infernal 24-second cooldown. Anytime he activates that, Chanimals really is looking for a kill. Chun-Li saved his Touch of Death, so Thugonomics could be in trouble if he overextends. It now looks like the Super Regis have changed their strategy. They're just going to be trying to split the whole game. Smexen on Chanimal and Thugonomics going after Cubsy. Thugonomics trying to land a Chaos Nova on the healer, but missing it, unfortunately, and only hitting one player. Chun-Li got dispelled out. Now Thugonomics is falling far behind. How is he going to deal with this? Thugonomics is actually playing Demonic, so he was expecting a spread pressure strategy from the Affliction Warlock, but Demonic is not too great against single target damage. Chun-Li dishing out a ton of pressure with that Touch of Death, forcing a cooldown overlap from the Super Rejects and putting them very far behind.
Yeah, Thugonomics is forced to play so defensive in this matchup so far. The damage coming in from Super Frogs is great. Cubsy now going to be pushing in a little bit, dispelling off that mind control that Envious was able to throw out. Smexen trying to create pressure on Chanimals, but it's just so difficult as that Windwalker Monk to create solo pressure on a class like that. Thugonomics down to the Fist of Fury stun. He's out of line of sight, though. No damage going to be coming in from Chanimals. And finally, Smexen able to get some damage rolling as he gets bursted down. I think that was that the Touch of Death? Yeah, there was a Touch of Death coming in from Smexen, so that's where that burst came from. Now, nice little swap over on the Cubsies. He's caught into the Chaos Nova as well. Blood Owl Silence comes in. Can Super Rejects take him down? He is, I think, just going to live with the Hellstone, but that was a nice swap coming in from Super Rejects.
Yeah, I mean, they're still splitting. Thugonomics has just been sitting on Cubsy. Now he's playing defensively. Thugonomics has used a lot of defensive cooldowns. He's an open target. He needs to be careful with how aggressive he is, especially going after Cubsy the healer. Chun-Li's on his back. Thugonomics trying to Blade Dance a Fist of Fury. Chun-Li not falling for it. Now going for the leg sweep, knowing he can't avoid it with a spell lock timed on Envious. Envious looking for mind controls to get Chun-Li away. Gets purged by Cubsy before getting him off the edge. Good reaction from Cubsy. Let's see if Chun-Li can finish this. Thugonomics is dangerously low. Ray of Hope, though, has been triggered, which pauses all damage and boosts healing, and then immediately tops the target if you dump a ton of healing into it. Thugonomics bouncing back to full to keep up the hunt towards Cubsy.
Yeah, Cubsy mana not doing too great once again, around 55% mana. Envious way ahead, so that is another win condition here for the Super Rejects. And like we said, they're not afraid to bring the game long. They get that advantage. Fist of Fury stun on Chanimal. He trinkets out, still trying to kite away the best he can. Good peels coming in from Chun-Li. Now swap from Thugonomics over on the Cubsy once again, just trying to rot him down low. And the split strategy coming in from Super Rejects seems to be pretty effective at least taxing Cubsy's mana.
Yep, Cubsy dropping that Earthen Shield Totem. Thugonomics is going to retreat away. He does have Blur, but he's just trying to delay the stun by cutting away as much as possible. It sometimes gets confusing because Chun-Li and Thugonomics played together for so long in the past. To see them against each other, it seems almost like a mystery. The Envious game process, Chun-Li making a swap. Who's he going to go after? I think Thugonomics Blade Dance. Thugonomics he's trying endlessly to Blade Dance these stuns, but Chun-Li is always patient and holding on to them and never falling for the bait.
Yeah, good job by Chun-Li. Smexon now rotting down a little bit low as he's caught in the Fist of Fierce. Then has the Trinket and Karma. He should be fine, but good pressure coming in from Super Frogs here. Envious gets wind sheared on a heal. Nicely done by Cubsy, trying to help out his team with a little bit of offense there, but Envious has just been positioned so far away in this matchup, able to pretty easily heal through this damage, and it's looking good for the Super Rejects that the game goes on longer.
Chun-Li casted Unstable Affliction I don't know how many times, but I think Envious used Fade and then Dispelled when he was immune to the damage and silence effect with Fade. So Envious doing a great job with those mechanics. They could punish that by potentially swapping to him, so I'm curious if Chun-Li is going to try and look for that opening. If they don't, Envious can completely counteract this single target soul drain spec from Chanimal by fading and dispelling.
Yep, once again, Smexon's going to be charging after Chanimal, who's just kiting him around the map. Smexon is trying to create as much pressure as possible. Like we kind of talked about, as Dampening moves on, Cubsy's going to have a much more difficult time healing through this damage. He's going to have to decide, where do I want to put my Earthen Shield? Where do I want to drop my Earthen Shield totem? And everyone's going to be rotting down. Another double stun coming in from the Super Rejects. Chanimal's rotting down a little bit. Cubsy gets interrupted. Everyone kind of rotting down for Super Frogs. Pressure starting to build for Super Rejects. In the meantime, though, Thugonomics getting a little bit lower. Throws in the Blade Dance, trying to avoid that stun. Nicely done by him.
Yeah, Envious connecting a big heal. Thugonomics topping off. Chanimal just trying to stay out in the open so that he can free cast without the enemies running away right after he finishes casting Unstable Afflictions. There's a Chastise stun on Cubsy. Good cross crowd control. Chanimal really not reacting too quickly. Maybe they're just trying to be greedy. Cubsy goes for a Hex. Aggressively lands that onto Envious, but Chanimal is still in trouble below half. They're holding on to defensive cooldowns. Now a setup on the Thugonomics. He trinkets. He drops the Darkness, but there's still Snipes. Crackling Jade Lightning to push Thugonomics out of the darkness, but he's able to immediately get back into it. Now Chun-Li getting counter pressured as he was pushing so much on offense. He's forced to trade out his Trinket and Touch of Karma, but they're still gunning down for the kill. If they can keep interrupting Envious, they need to deny the healing on the Ray of Hope. They stun Envious instead. They trade out Guardian Angel. This will deny a potential negative Ray of Hope, but it's not ultimately negative. Thugonomics will be able to stay alive. They swap over to Cubsy. He trades out the Astral Shift right before that stun lock combination happened. If he didn't make that play, he could easily be dead right now, but the pressure from Super Rejects is still mounting.
Yeah, Cubsy with that Ascendant should be able to top off his team. Nice fear spam coming in from Chanimals to slow down this assault coming in from the Super Rejects. Thugonomics needs to be very scared, though. They do not have any defensive cooldowns left for him. If he gets caught into another stun, still rotting down low. Envious gets interrupted on the flash heal, going for the mind control play, managed to get it on Chun-Li just to slow down some of that incoming damage, something we constantly see from Envious, making sure he's using both of those crazes. If he does get interrupted, he can throw out the mind control, and that's just going to stall out the damage, let the Prayer Mending, let the Renew heal someone else. So it's a very intelligent play from him.
Yeah, mind control and imprison's always on Chun-Li. He's not a kill target for the Super Rejects. He could be in a swap, but their pressure is mainly on Cubsy and Chanimal to try and almost mana burn Cubsy. It's a mana burn strat by splitting targets, so one person is always not hitting into Earthshield and doing maximum damage. Cubsy right now has Earthshield on himself, which means Chanimal could be exposed, or maybe a swap to Chun-Li. I'd love to see a swap to Chun-Li on this stun lock with no Touch of Karma, but they're not really taking advantage of the opening. Envious is trying to stay ahead of the damage with this Ray of Hope preemptively activated. Let's see if it ends up being negative with Envious caught into a paralysis. Thugonomics not bouncing back quite so much. Envious looking for mind controls. Chun-Li Flying Serpent kicks out of range. Thugonomics in trouble. Huge Rising Sun kick. Thugonomics trying to vengeful retreat back away. Chastise stun on Chun-Li. No Trinket. Thugonomics swapping to Chanimal behind the pillar. Is Cubsy going to be able to get in line of sight in time? Thugonomics is also getting counter pressured at the same moment. Unending Resolve has to be traded out. This is still anyone's game.
Yeah, Chanimal's looking for the defensive play, still spamming out some fears. Envious gets interrupted. Thugonomics caught into the full stun. Trinket for not available for another second as he gets bursted down. Envious life grips him away. That's going to put a little heal over time effect, but Thugonomics still needs to be so careful. It's going to be a Chaos Nova on Chun-Li, and he's going to be able to use that double jump from the Demon Hunter to avoid Chun-Li for just a little while longer. Get back onto Cubsy and actually force out the Astral Shift as well, so that was nicely done.
Yep, Thugonomics getting cooldowns. It's difficult as the Restoration Shaman to heal 2 targets like this. Now swapping off the Ursha with the paralysis, trying to burst down Chanimal. Hellstone is forced from Chanimal. It's basically a full heal, but he's likely to only get that once in a game. Now that that full heal is out of the way, he's very exposed. He's trying to set up for some counter aggression though. Paralysis, knockback, knocking Envious down the side. Great play from Chanimal with that Grimoire of Succubus. Envious trying to get back into position, managing now to restabilize his team. Cubsy getting imprisoned at low HP. No Astral Shift, no Trinket, getting stunned. Thugonomics right on top of him. I'd love to see Smexon roll over for a swap, but he's just going to be training down Chanimal. Play it safe for the long haul. I mean, at this point, at 22% Dampening, can't really blame him, but Thugonomics is in trouble. No darkness for 3 more seconds. Will he be able to hang on to that point? Ray of Hope denies the kill for now. Cubsy now in trouble. Thugonomics going for a one-on-one kill. Spirit Link gets dropped. Chun-Li rolling into it just in time to stabilize the team, but Cubsy's mana is not looking too good.
It's not looking good at all, and we are at 25% dampening, but it becomes much more difficult for the Holy Priest as well. Thugonomics still getting low, trying to run away the best he can, flying around with that double jump, but still just rotting down to the Affliction Warlock damage, and ultimately will fall. That's what happens as the Holy Priest if you can't get
based attempt for a kill. They set that up immediately when the opening is there and they see it. If they should be playing back in defensive and just focusing on damage, they switch back to that strategy. And even though the composition really isn't that standard, you're probably not going to have a lot of success with it and maybe looking for group. But if you're a well-coordinated team on this composition, it seems like you can definitely take games even off the best teams. And Super Frogs are looking like a dominating force with it.
Yeah, gates are about to open. Sid, you want to take this one away?
Okay, everybody at home, Runes of Lordaeron. It's match point. It would be a fitting final resting place as this is currently a cemetery.
Yes, it is. Super Frog's going to be moving in. Super Rejects, I expect them to go with that similar strategy where they're splitting, putting pressure on both Chanimals and Cubsy. Just hopefully Colo on that Wrestler Shaman is going to be able to carry them a little bit longer than Envious on the Holy Priest.
Yep. Thugonomics is still playing the Demonic build, which is likely to say that he's going to be focusing mostly on defense. Colo getting swapped to early on by Chun-Li. Let's see if he can handle the pressure. He's got Earthen Shield Totem down. I think he should be able to tank this out quite fine. Cubsy getting pressured by Smexen in the meantime, and they are going for a split strategy again, but they've switched targets. Smexen is attacking Cubsy this time around rather than Chanimal. Now they're making the swaps. Paralysis on Cubsy. Both Thugonomics and Smexen switch to Chanimal, and I think if they do those types of setups more often, they could find opportunities to fire a kill.
Yeah, one thing about this comp that the Super Rejects has is I think Colo's going to be a little bit more of a pressure point than Envious. Definitely a target that Super Frost can take down. Cubsy getting swapped to once again, forced into the Astral Shift. It's going to make him tanky, but still just getting interrupted, struggling to really top himself off. He has the gateway. I think he's already used it though, so not going to really have too much mobility, having to deal with all the interrupts, manages to fake them, and now we can get those healing surges off to stabilize just a little bit.
All right, Cubsy though getting interrupted, trinketing dangerously low. A lot of pressure this game from the Super Rejects, but now they're also getting punished as Smexen gets caught into a leg sweep. Trinket, Touch of Karma from him will allow him to recover, so the Super Rejects are playing a lot more aggressive now. I almost would like to see Thugonomics not playing a Demonic build if they were going to do this strategy. His damage can be much lower outside of those burst windows. Currently, Cubsy deflecting this attack with Ascendance, maintaining his entire team, but his last line of defense will be Spirit Link Totem. Same thing goes for Colo, though. It's still anyone's match.
Yeah, Colo not afraid to press that Purge button, and you can see how taxed his mana really is. Already down to around 40% mana, so Super Rejects not going for the long game this one. They want to take him down, but Colo ultimately getting lower and lower. Incapacitate coming in from Smexen onto Chun-Li will save Colo's life, but he's not out of the woods yet. Getting Spear Hand Strike Imprisonment over onto Chun-Li as Colo leaps away to survive a little bit longer.
Chun-Li rolling back to support Cubsy. Thugonomics in hot pursuit. Smexen looking for a Flying Serpent Kick, portaling. If Chun-Li can maybe land a disable route on the Flying Serpent Kick in time, they could deny a reconnect. Smexen's actually just giving up on trying to go after Cubsy. He does not have any defensives. If Smexen overextends, he could easily go down. That's why we see him repositioning back away and not overextending, just attacking the Warlock, trying to slow down his pressure. In the meantime, Chun-Li has an opening where he can have free reign on Colo if he wants to, opting to maybe switch back. Chun-Li's going to gate across the map for a Fist of Fury onto Thugonomics, trying to pressure him as he's overextended currently in the room. Now, though, a Chaos Nova by Thugonomics as he's trying to reverse the pressure. Smexen and Thugonomics basically tag teaming on both Cubsy and Chanimal, just tagging in and out on which guy they're going to be attacking. Right now, Thugonomics playing the trigger, popping Metamorphosis. This is a huge damage increase, but Colo at the same time is pushing for an aggressive play. He's caught in the middle of the map. They're forced to trade out Darkness to sustain themselves.
Yeah, Colo in the middle of the map there, maybe a little bit overextended, allowing an easy swap for Chun-Li, but he will stabilize with that Darkness, like you said, incapacitate now over on the Cubsy. If they get the follow-ups done, Cubsy is able to get the Earth Shield on himself before the swap comes in.
8 seconds.
So he should be able to live, but still no Trinket. Astral Shift's going to be forced out. That'll make him tanky enough to survive, but like you said, he has the Trinket coming up, he has the Spirit Link still. Cubsy should be able to keep himself alive a little bit longer, but this is really good pressure from Super Rejects.
Yeah, Smexen Thugonomics just tagging out again, now going after Chanimal. Chun-Li pressuring Colo in the meantime, forcing a solo Astral Shift with no touch of death. If Colo's caught out of position here, in the next couple of seconds, he could just get erased by Chun-Li. We see Strike of the Windlord available, and Colo needs to be near his teammates to use Spirit Link Totem, so Smexen's going to come back and support Colo, realizing this opening is there. Lava Burst attempt from Colo, trying to really pressure Chun-Li, maybe force a Touch of Karma, not finding it though. Colo completely sustaining himself. Chun-Li He's reluctant to do it. He could overextend with no trinket and possibly die as well, so he's not going to go for the aggressive strategy, pulling back now to support Cubsy. Mana, however, in favor of Super Rejects.
I really want to see them punish Chun-Li. If Smexen can keep his port over there with Colo, Colo can manage to get Chun-Li a little bit low. He can use the port, get over there, incapacitate Chun-Li. Thuganomics can easily use that Demon Hunter mobility to come back, and they can basically global him behind the pillar. So definitely a strategy they could implement, but Chun-Li going to be playing it safe, playing midfield, where Smexen and Chun-Li having a little bit of a Windwalker duel right now. Smexen reconnecting to his target Chanimals, trying to keep that pressure up. Cubsy's managed to stabilize for now, but the split strategy, once again, coming in from the Super Rejects, starting to tax Cubsy's mana quite a bit. We're not even in dampening. Both Shamans not doing too great on mana as Chanimals gets lower. I think that was a Hellstone and the Unending Resolve that was forced out with that damage. So I really like what Smexen and Thuganomics are doing, connecting on one target, really putting that burst pressure out.
Yeah, this is the first game in the series where Super Rejects have an offense, and it's really paying off. They're burning down Cubsy's mana. They're getting lots of cooldowns on these swaps. As long as they can keep this coordinated assault, I think they're looking to take this match. Cubsy caught into a paralysis, Chanimal porting away, Smexen right on top of Fist of Fury, Thuganomics making his way over, but getting hexed up out of line of sight with cross stun on Colo. Now a cap totem out of the hex. Good crowd control from Cubsy and Chun-Li, taking 2 players out of the game for an extended period of time, now allowing themselves free reign to develop pressure on Colo, keeping him down below half. Blood Elf Silence 1 second too late on that heal though by Chun-Li. Colo now will survive. Paralysis on Chun-Li. Smexen looking for a solo swap. If he can get a touch of karma with this swap, it would be great for their team, and they do manage to pull the touch of karma. Chun-Li is now a viable swap target moving forward.
Yeah, Chun-Li still opting to just train down Colo, refreshing that Earthen Shield on himself. Chun-Li comes back, needs to peel for his team just a little bit as Cubsy is starting to fall behind. 4% dampening has kicked in. Chun-Li looking for the Fist of Fear stun, but actually Smexen avoided it there, so Fist of Fear stun's not going to be hitting him right then, and that stun's going to allow Smexen to continue doing damage. Now a full leg sweep over onto Colo. Good pressure coming in from Chun-Li. Smexen has come back to really help him, so Smexen does have a stun available. If Chun-Li continues this, Smexen might be able to punish it with a leg sweep with Fist of Fury, but double stun coming in from Chun-Li. Colo still in a lot of trouble, basically getting solo down in the situation. Smexen throws out the in-cap touch of death. Leg sweep. Chun-Li trying to survive now as he gets bursted down. Smexen gunning for him.
Yep, and Chun-Li is finally forced to run away, but he wreaked havoc, and he almost tied the mana with that aggression between Cubsy and Colo. In the meantime, now the Super Rejects are gunning down Cubsy. He's got Ascendance. He needs these healing waves. If he gets interrupted, he's going to fall very far behind, but he is fake casting the interrupts quite effectively, connecting these healing waves and completely restabilizing his team. Now, if we look on the opposite side, Super Rejects, they're all starting to rot down. Colo has Ascendance. He's likely to use that very soon to recover his team from this massive spread pressure from Chanimal that's developing as we move deeper and deeper into Dampening.
Yep, Thuganomics and Smexen connecting on a Chanimals. Cubsy trying to keep him up, spamming out the heals. Smexen is the one taking most of the damage. The Succubus play over onto Colo. Leg sweep now on a Smexen, but he gets the touch of karma off. Stay alive, not going to have that for quite some time. No trinket, no touch of karma available for Smexen. Colo uses the Astral Shift. Superfrog's getting a lot of defensive cooldowns here. No darkness available as well, so everyone is kind of an opening here for the Super Frogs against Super Rejects.
Yeah, now that Ascendance and Healing Tide are out of the way for Colo, he's going to fall behind though. Cubsy still has Healing Tide totem in his back pocket to recover. Colo's now in a lot of trouble behind the pillar. Thuganomics tries to come back to help. He's at least there for the Spirit Link totem. It wasn't really 100% needed, but I guess Colo wants to just trade it out and maybe save mana moving forward now that Cubsy has actually swung it in his favor. Smexen trying to punish Chun-Li for overextending, but Touch of Karma is available. Now paralysis on Colo. Chun-Li's going to swap back. Who are they going to go after? Thuganomics just getting Fist of Fury for appeal. Cubsy trying to recover. He's already used that Healing Tide totem. He's trying to benefit the most from it and recover completely. At this point, the Shamans have no real major recovery from area of effect damage. Now that Dampening is very high, it's going to become insanely difficult for them to recover. Colo is going to have a harder time, I feel, moving deeper into Dampening. The Super Frogs have possibly won this attrition fight. A double stun, though, landed onto Cubsy and Chun-Li. A punish from Thuganomics on that bad positioning.
Yep, Thuganomics putting out some good spread pressure. Colo getting swapped to once again in midfield. There's a leg sweep, Fist of Fury, incapacity coming in from Smexen to keep Colo alive, but he has no mana left, basically struggling to keep himself up, trying to fake cast the interrupts. Smexen actually ports back, but you got to be careful with Smexen. No! You don't want to get double stunned. Chun-Li lands the interrupt on Colo. There's a leg sweep on Chun-Li. He has his trinket, he has his touch of karma if he needs it, but he's going to hold on just a little bit bit longer, doesn't want to give Smexon the satisfaction of getting those cooldowns and maybe be a target a little bit later on in the game.
He also used his pre-fortifying brew before getting stunned, so it was a nice read by Chun-Li, and he could be greedy as a result. Now that's going to allow him to stay aggressive on Colo, but moving into the next minute or so. Smexon forced to use Touch of Karma. Colo falling behind. He needs another 56 seconds on his Ascendance to recover from the pressure that Chanimal is starting to develop. Chanimal trades out Unending Resolve. He cannot afford to be greedy moving this deep into Dampening. Cubsy caught into a Chaos Nova. Chanimal desperately spamming Fear onto the team to recover. Will Cubsy be able to handle the pressure? Everybody rotting down. Connects a huge heal on himself, trying to stabilize Chun-Li as well, managing to re-top him. Chanimal now recovering. Good recovery from Cubsy. That was a very stressful situation, but now Thugonomics pulling the trigger. Smexon is also dangerously low. It's match point. Chanimal portals away. He's low as well. Smexon is gunning down for the kill possibly. Colo doesn't have anything for 25 more seconds. He needs it. Will his team be able to buy the time? Chanimals is trying to deny that. Leg sweep on 2 members in prison. Unfortunately, DR'd onto Cubsy. He's got Ascendance. Ascendance should allow him to recover. Huge splash healing. 10 more seconds for Colo. Is he going to make it to that point? I don't think he's going to be able to make it. It's match point. He needs to fake cast so many interrupts. He's ducking behind the pillar, but Smexon also has nothing left defensively. He needs 1 more second on Ascendance. It's not going to be an immediate top off, but if he can connect some healing waves, it's going to be big healing. He's trying to fake cast the interrupts. He needs to get a healing wave with this Ascendance. He gets spell lock. Chanimal held the spell lock that entire time, denies the Ascendance, and follows it up with a stun. Darkness from Thugonomics 1 second before getting hexed. Buys Colo enough time to survive. He's got Healing Tide, but he banked nothing off that Ascendance. Huge punish from the Super Frogs onto Colo.
Yeah, Super Rejects tournament life on the line. Colo falling further and further behind. Smexon has the Touch of Karma coming up in 2 seconds. Super Frogs has all the pressure, all the momentum. Bloodhouse Silence on Colo. He struggles to keep himself alive. There's the Fist of Fury stun. Chun-Li closes out the game at 31% Dampening. Super Frogs and Super Rejects packing at 32% Dampening. 3-0 in the first series of the day.
Yeah, that was where someone could go down on Super Frogs. We saw Chanimal. I mean, you can even see it right now. Chanimal has no cooldowns left. We saw Cubsy had to use a lot of his cooldowns as well, expend most of his mana. So this was definitely a very nice match. Everybody did a good job, and I think that there was so much pressure back and forth.
3-0 by the Super Frogs against the Super Rejects. The next series is going to be Method Orange versus the Move to see which one of these two Titan teams will reclaim dominance in the North American scene.